Hi,
Hey, thank you for coming and joining me today.
you're welcome.
Tell me first of all, just to kind of start off, easy question first. What brought you to Recovery Day today?
I came with friends. I came to stay connected because it's something I've struggled with in recovery before. So it's important to me to always reach out and stay connected so that way I know I'm safe.
What started your recovery journey?
I had a really good friend who died of an overdose back in January, which kind of affected me in a negative way, I guess. And then less than a month later, my brother passed away of an overdose.
Oh, wow.
And so I was kind of at a point in my life where I was ready to give up. I was ready to end things. It seemed like it was easier than doing the whole recovery thing. And after my brother passed away, I don't really have any other way to explain it than it flipped a switch in my head and made me think about how young he was when he passed away, how much life he still had to live, how important that life was. And in doing that, it helped me to think of how important my life was still and how much I still had to give back and things. And so it's kind of bittersweet for me, but it was my brother and his overdose that got me back into recovery.
So what does recovery look like today for you?
Well, like I said, one important aspect of it is staying connected, is always having good, sober, healthy people around me. So that way, I'm going to go back to the treatment center's philosophy that I went to, but they can keep me accountable, they can hold me accountable, and they can keep me honest. I lived in my addiction for so long that dishonesty it kind of became
Who you were?
who I was. And so being honest in my recovery is really important to me. It keeps me accountable, and then other people being honest with me helps keep me accountable as well. And a big part of my recovery this time is I want to give back. So I look for ways that I can help other people out, just because there were so many people that always reached out to me and tried to help me. I turned it away most times, but I see how important that is to help other people in their recovery and also help yourself.
Takes you outside of yourself a
Yeah.
little bit, for sure.
And it feels good.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. What has been the hardest part of your recovery journey so far?
Oh, that is a tough question. Motivation, it wasn't necessarily tough when I was in treatment. Now that I'm in sober living and not in treatment, it's trying to find the constant motivation to not stay sober, but just stay active.
Right.
And so I find myself pushing myself more and more, which is a good thing. One of the goals that I have for being in recovery this time is to never feel complacent or never get to a point where I'm comfortable, just because in my past, when I reach that part, I become stagnant, and that leads to relapse.
Absolutely. It's
So
a dangerous place to be sometimes.
Yeah. Being motivated has been tough, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. So
Yeah. What do you feel is the biggest thing you've gained from being in recovery?
a sense of love of self, because for the last decade, I have not felt any love for myself or other people for that matter. And so just being able to feel again, I didn't feel for the longest time. Now I feel again, and I feel all emotions, like the whole spectrum, not just good, but bad. And it feels good to be able to actually feel those and be in those emotions, and then be able to conquer those emotions, I guess, keep them in check, keep control of them.
And they still suck to feel. It's still not fun to feel.
Well, not all of them, but some of them definitely suck.
Yeah. And I think we're so used to numbing them for so long. And when we numb the bad ones, we also numb
the good ones
too. And so that is a difficult piece for a lot of people. Last question, I promise. What is one thing that offers you hope in recovery?
Things like this, like coming to Recovery Day and seeing the turnout, seeing how many people are here, and seeing the unity in it gives me hope that hopefully one day the recovery community will play a hand in helping to eradicate this epidemic that we have.
My mom passed away a couple years ago, and I allowed myself to fall off and use that as justification to use. And it took me about 8 months to figure out that I wasn't honoring her. So I finally pulled my head out of my butt and got into rehab and decided to do things differently for myself this time. This is my first time like doing it for me and not going to jail, and actually getting the opportunity to make my own choices for me and to honor her. That you can do it, and that there are people out there that do care and that will have your back. Sometimes I feel like I don't have anyone, even in recovery, I feel like I don't have anyone, and then there will be that exact moment I'll have someone text me or reassure me that I am worth it and I can do it in some way.
Going through treatment centers since I was 18 years old. I'm 22 now. I've been through 4.5 treatment centers, and just being able to get a year for the first time. Prior to this, my most sobriety that I had was 75 days. So pretty crazy. Grateful. So what worked for me this time around was just not doing what I wanted to do, really. I was in a state of, I don't know, my mind was just so all over the place, and like I realized that my way of thinking and my way of life never could have gotten me sober. So listening to other people that knew what they were talking about, shutting my mouth and opening up my ears and actually taking action really is what did it for me. I did a lot of things like break up with a girl I was in a long-term relationship with. I lived out in Salt Lake City, which I did not want to do. I wanted to go back to California. I didn't really want to go into sober living either. Didn't really want to do AA, didn't really want to get a sponsor, but I did it all anyways, and like it's changed my life completely for the better. It's like I could have never seen myself getting to this place in my life ever. I never had that type of hope.
So recovery to me is just my abilities to use the knowledge and the skills I learned like through treatment or just life, and put them into use in the right direction. The best part is probably going through the trials and having the skills and the outlets to know that I can first of all get through whatever I'm facing, and doing getting through each trial or situation I'm faced with that typically in the past would lead me to using or like I would just use so that I could get through those situations. I get through them today, and each one kind of builds my confidence to where I know that I'm always going to have things that I'm faced with that are challenging or that are tough, but each time I make the right choice and I get through it. I mean, it just proves to me that I'm doing what's right. So it might be tough at the beginning, and you might feel in the worst way, like physically, emotionally, mentally, but like each day further away from that, like you're closer to feeling relief and order in your life. You're able to feel healthy, and at least all the things that come along with that, like security, like as far as emotionally or mentally, and health health-wise, just building your body back up. But every day that you get further away from your last use, you get closer to happiness and joy and the good things of life. So, yeah.
Recovery for me means no more lies. It means getting back with my family. I don't have to hide anymore behind drugs. So it's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of me getting to know myself again, because for the longest time, I'm 51 years young, okay? And for the longest time, the last 20, 30 years, I've been hiding and masking behind drugs. And I did all that because I do have some other issues, and I use drugs to deal with the pain. And so nowadays in my life, I'm able to deal with that open and honesty, So yeah, that's what recovery means to me. I'm back in my children's lives again. Some of my family members are not quite ready, and that's okay. I still call, check in, let them know I'm all right, because there's a lot of damage I did there. So the biggest part was my children, because they're adults now, and I wasn't there when they were growing up, so that was real hard. So a lot of questions they had for me were hard to answer, but I had to tell the truth. So I've been in recovery since May, and I'm getting ready to complete the program in the next couple months. I have a job, so things are good now. Things are good. I don't have to hide anymore.
So we're at Recovery Day, Salt Lake City. Alec, what does your recovery look like today, and how important is it for you?
Well, it's everything. Yeah. Without that, I don't have anything, I think it's evolving into much more nowadays. I do work a 12-step program as the foundation of my recovery, but I've really branched into meditation, energy work, and I'm a big trail runner, so I'm really big into the outdoors. I'm actually doing a Spartan race in Tahoe the end of this month. Yeah, so physical fitness is also a huge part of it. Spirituality, I think that balance is super important, because I'll get addicted to one thing. So if I can find balance, I feel a lot better with equating a lot of things to help me with my recovery.
Yeah, so. Balance, that's kind of like the touchy subject, right? If we can have it, we have everything. So what does the balance look like for you today?
I think just balancing work life, personal life, reaching my goals, my dreams, balancing out what I can do each day to achieve those. I just bought a puppy. He's the cutest little thing. His name's Nix. That has been a goal of mine for years, to be in a space of being healthy, to get that, so now balancing the craziness of my job, and now I'm a dog mom, and taking care of him, and being able to show up for my family, and just time management, I think, is huge, and balancing that, and really, I guess I never realized how much time I actually have, right? When we separate from the drugs and alcohol, and spend so much time thinking about just that, and how we're going to get it, or how I'm feeling, right?
About it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time to be successful if you can channel it in the right ways. So.
Yeah. What are you most excited for in your recovery, or what your recovery will have to offer?
I think just experience and understanding, I think it's just, we're all in it together, and so the more we do stuff like this and share our stories and just relate, it's connection, right? I think connection is honestly the secret. Opposite of addiction is connection, right? And if we can connect to ourselves and something bigger, or any sort of belief, and then others, I think we'll be okay today, right?
No, I love that you said connect with ourselves, and like a higher source and other people, because connection, we think of being connected towards other people, right? I think it gets lost that we need to connect with ourselves too.
Oh, hands down, yeah. And I think that's why I think I use, I know I can speak for myself, is I just wanted to feel something, and when I was using, that was my time. I was an isolated user and ended up being homeless and using by myself on the streets. That was my life. So it was just, now that I don't have the substances, I have to connect with myself in some ways. So that's the excitement of recovery for me today, is, hey, what do I do to connect with myself? And I'll do something for a month, and I'm like, that was cool, but I'm done with that, and then I find other avenues and other avenues and other avenues, and I think that's what I love about recovery, is it's never ending. It's never ending growth.
Yeah, it's always something new too. There's always something else we can incorporate,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
For me too, it evolves like over time. You know, like my recovery, you know, back when I was 30, 60, 90 days sober, looks a lot different today than it used to.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we think we got it all figured out too at 30, 60, 90, you know, like I am going to save the world and I have a plan, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'll have 2 years in December. My life looks completely different from then. And I'm like, I actually don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, I think I'll wake up sober, but that's about all I know.
Right.
You know, it just gives a freedom of a sense of freedom. You know? I don't have to have it all figured out.
All right, so Mario, what's up, man? I'm Charlie. Nice to meet you, man. I work at Brighton. I'm also in recovery.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. What does recovery mean to you?
Recovery means to me it's been a lifelong journey. So it's a struggle to. I've been in recovery since 15 years, 2004.
Nice.
So to me, it's just learning to love yourself and learning to grow and become who you need to really be, and not hide behind the substances that unfortunately aren't letting you see that. And so I work for Highland Ridge Hospital. It's been a beautiful process, and we do detox services.
Right.
Over at Highland Ridge, and we work quite a bit with all our community.
Right on. Right on. What's your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part is seeing the patient come in, really at that point where they really truly need and want the help, and then being able to work with so many of our community partners, to Brighton included,
right,
to get them the quality care that they deserve.
Nice.
So,
nice.
I love it. I love being able to be that first point of contact a lot of times for them.
Yeah.
Getting them detoxed to a point where they can feel a little bit closer to who they really are.
Right on. What's one of what's the greatest memory that jumps out in your head from somebody that you were able to assist, and like what struck you as like this is the best?
It was a young girl that called me, and she got my number, and she basically was asking for help, and I was trying to get her all the help that she could get. She went really silent on the phone, and it made me really. I was like, "Are you still there?" And she's like, "Yeah." She goes, "You know what? Never mind." And I said, "What's the problem? Is there something I can help you with?" And she goes, "I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this."
Wow.
And to me, that I remember feeling that way.
Wow.
You know? And I told her, I was like, "You do. Your life is worth it, and we want to help as much as we can." And it just kind of brought me back to my own experiences, and I think that's a sad situation sometimes, is that people don't feel that they deserve to be sober, to have the recovery in their lives, and to really push forward towards their passions and what they care about in life. So I think that was one of the first times that I like really reflected back on my story, and I worked hard to try and get this patient in. So to me, it's such a beautiful situation that they all deserve to have.
I just celebrated my 30th year clean and sober, and I'm really excited about that and humbled at the same time, because I was a month away from my 15th birthday when I got sober, and I'm still sober, and I was in 6 treatment centers before then. I had a lot of struggles with an abusive dad, and just a home life and cycle of abuse that really wasn't working. So I ended up as a runaway and at the bottom really early. And once I went back to treatment, God took care of the abuse factors in my life and made a way. And I believe Odyssey Health, and then a commitment to serving God. And if He'd helped me stay sober, really did it. He really took care of the things that were the hardest. Be gentle with yourself. That recovery is not overnight. That even at 30 years, I don't have it all figured out. And to remain teachable.
I think it's important that we have a network a support network outside of each other, that we're not trying to fix each other, but that we allow each other space to lean on our community. I feel like that's the best thing that I can do to help him. Like, have you reached out to this person? Have you reached out to that person? What advice did they give you? I have a pretty strong network of women in my life that I lean on. So yeah.
I think that's important because you've got to have your own recovery, right? You can't rely on each other. So you've got to have that network of friends and outside support.
Sure. And I think that's kind of where we went wrong last time, is we really depended on each other to sponsor each other through life, if you will, and that's not necessarily the best thing to do.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is we also get to share, and we have such an empathy because we understand how it works, how the mental aspect works of this disease, you know? So, like, and she's way better at it than I am, for sure. But she's so compassionate at times when I'm in the struggle, you know? And I never, ever feel like she's not supportive of me, ever. Never, ever. And I'm so grateful for that. Totally grateful, you know? And we also get to have conversations, I think, especially on an emotional and a spiritual level, that are way deeper than they ever were before. And that's just because we try to practice this thing every day, you know. We get to share in the triumphs, and we get to share in the not triumphant times, you know what I mean? And that builds a bond that's, for me, the bee's knees. Yeah. So one of the things that I think that we did the right way is we were honest with our kids, with the twins when they were like 4 and 5 years old. And we told them what was going on with us. We talked to them about this disease. We talked to them about how the disease progressed in our family, not just our family, but our family of origin, but our entire family, because we have a lot of that, on both sides. And we were honest with them. And you know, I think that set our children up to a certain degree to be successful, because we explained to them about the genetic predisposition. We explained to them about, you know, what had happened to us. You know, the conversations that our parents never had with us, we were able to have with them.
Yeah, it's
you know,
so true.
It was. I just think it's huge for people. And you know, and I can understand why certain folks maybe don't, but I think that they're doing themselves and their family a disservice. I mean, if we're truly trying to end the stigma, we should be able to talk to the little ones for sure about what we're dealing with.
100%.
And the other thing I think is super important is to give each other space and allow each other, the entire family, to feel the way that they feel, you know, and not try to change that. Not do all the stuff that feels so good to do because we want people to act a certain way, but actually allow it to happen.
I've been coming here for a couple of years now. I started a apparel company. 20% of everything we sell gets donated to nonprofits, getting people into sober livings, treatment centers, detoxes. And we got invited here at Recovery Days at USARA's behest because 20% of everything we sell at USARA is going to be donated to USARA. No One Down Apparel, if you want more information on us. No One Down, yeah. Go to www.noonedown.com. I just celebrated 4 years of recovery off everything. I was homeless, living in Los Angeles, downtown LA. And my story's a little bit crazy because I come from a very well-off family. I was living in Santa Barbara, California. Mom's a doctor, dad's a sales consultant. When I made the conscious decision to move to downtown LA, where all the drugs were. And so finally, after just getting beaten up by life, finally just learning how to surrender, and I moved to Utah to try and get a new lease on it. And I did, and I found this amazing recovery community, all the hundreds of different outlets here, with the avenues of recovery, which is amazing. So the reason I started No One Down is because my first year of sobriety, I'm from Utah County, 200 people died in 1 year. 200 people, and me and my buddy who started it, we just got so sick. We were like, there's got to be something we can do to help raise money. And we started as like a joke. We didn't think it would go anywhere. But then we had big shout outs by Kalichi, Brandon Novak. A lot of these big guys loved what we were doing, and they loved the concept of let's keep no one down so no one will be. And that was the whole idea behind it. You know, going from being homeless to I own 2 homes now. And I don't say that to brag. I say it because it impresses me. Like, I'm shocked every day when I wake up with the life that I had. And no matter the homes, the money, the cars, any of that, the thing that impresses me the most is the ability where I wake up happy. Like, honestly, like, instead of waking up, you know, like, I wake up and life is good and I'm happy and I have a host of friends around me and they actually like me and I like them. Because before, you know, part of my reasons why I went the road that I did is because the friends I had I didn't like, and I hated everyone else because they didn't like me. And so that just made the trappings for depression, misunderstandings, to where when I first took my first drug or whatever, I felt peace. And that's all I ever wanted. But then the more I went down that road, that peace seemed to elude me and I just couldn't find it anymore. So just to have that peace and serenity and happiness, that's what I've taken away from this 4 years.
I'm over 17 years sober. My sobriety date is May 27th of 2002.
Hey, it's right by mine too.
Right on, by the grace of God, and I say that because the police came and picked me up and I ended up in prison.
Yeah.
So that was my life before. On the streets, running around, committing crimes, being crazy, and constantly feeling unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Constantly looking for something to make me feel okay.
Yeah.
And never getting it. You know, and I remember the day that I was arrested, I looked at the officers and I said, "What took you so long?" I said a silent prayer before I went to bed and I said, "Help." I mean, that's all I could do was help. And that's how help came. Yeah. So I don't care what way you come into these rooms or what modality you do, whether it's 12-step, whether it's faith-based, I do not care. Not one of us can do it alone.
Yeah.
So that is, I don't think as human beings we were meant to be alone, and I sure as heck can't do this by myself. And I needed a tribe of people that I felt a part of. I wanted something greater than myself. And that originally started with treatment and the people that I met and all of that, and eventually went into you. I mean, I'm sitting next to you, I just met you,
right?
And you're part of that solution for me.
Yeah.
Because I can't seem to figure this out on my own. So jump in, get involved, meet a bunch of people, find some people with time.
Yeah.
And it still gets to be the key piece of it, and ask for help. And 17 years sober, I still look for help when I need it. I still go back into therapy.
Yeah.
This is a journey I had no idea how to do. None of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to get up on time every day.
Yeah.
Somebody had to teach me that. And I found teachers along the road.
Yeah.
And then we think we can just stop.
Yeah.
I needed a skill set in order to not have to use. Like, I had no idea not how to feel. Like, emotions were hard.
Yeah.
Remember when you thought they were going to kill you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And I know it. And all of a sudden, somebody taught me how to walk through those emotions. And I love when I hear faith is hope with a track record.
Yeah.
I kept hoping I would stay sober. I kept hoping you wouldn't die over those feelings. I kept hoping I'd get over the next hurdle.
Yeah.
And what I know today is I have faith. I know I will.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Hand in hand, we end up going through life together, no
Oh.
matter what.